like, I mean, if the Rams get all their guys out there when Dayton is trying to shoot, it could make a big difference instead of, the paint being completely clear and Dayton just, taking what's theirs.
It could also potentially force more turnovers from Dayton. As I've said a few times, they only have 2, which I'd like to see them kind of force Dayton to make more mistakes, kind of put that pressure on, because a big part of any sport is not necessarily playing 100% perfectly, which is hard to do in any sport, but kind of forcing the other team to not be perfect, forcing the other team to make mistakes, maybe even simple mistakes that can help you.
Right. Get into the nitty-gritty.
Exactly.
As some call it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd like to see Fordham continue to compete with this amazing Dayton team. Excited for the second half. What do you think?
I'm excited. I think, it's always an interesting game when it feels like the teams are going teeth to teeth, which is, I feel like that's happening right now. I just hope that, each team keeps up their stamina. That way, I don't know, they're not as sloppy as they have been in the past, and they're taking what's theirs, but we shall see.
Yeah, from the one-on-one studio, I'm your studio host, Derek Boyer, joined by our updates person, Samantha Ortiz, sending it back to Nick Guzman and Lou Orlando for the second half of Fordham men's basketball.
Thanks, Derek and Samantha. Fordham and Dayton all tied up at 48. Got about 4.5 minutes to go before the start of the second half. Nick Guzman here alongside Lou Orlando. And Lou, Fordham in a tie game against Dayton, probably one of the best, most entertaining halves of basketball we've seen in front of our eyes at the Rose Hill Gym this season. But, historically, this is a Dayton team that's 26-3 in the 21st century against Fordham. We don't beat them very much. Had last time, I believe, was 2021. And a win over a team like this, a program that, as you said during break, arguably is closer to the Big East than they are to the bottom of the A-10. It would just be a huge win for this program.
There was a lot of talk this season, especially after Dayton beat UConn, and they beat UConn convincingly at that 85-67, and they go on and they beat Marquette. There's been a lot of dialogue about should Dayton join the Big East, and when you talk about their infrastructure, their facilities, their NIL funding, it's a lot closer to a Big East team than it is an A-10 team, and Fordham in terms of NIL and funding and that stuff, they're at the bottom of the A-10. It's a weird conversation to have about a Dayton team that has not won an A-10 title since 2003, but has certainly had a lot of talent. I think the bottom line is this. Clearly, this Dayton team does not have a player that's going to win A-10 Player of the Year like they did in
There's no
Duran Hall. There's no Obi Toppin. This is still an excellent Dayton team that has transfers from the Big East and the Big Ten. That's not true of Fordham. That's not true of teams that are in the lower echelon historically of the A-10. You beat a Dayton, that matters. So for me, it's Dayton was ranked 22nd in the nation. You don't do that by accident. You don't beat a UConn by accident. You don't beat a Marquette by accident. Fordham could play those teams 100 times. I'm not sure they would once. So to beat a team like Dayton, to be in this game against a team like Dayton, I know they've struggled in the A-10. This is a big prove-it game for Fordham. The fact they've been able to battle so far, that matters. That's a great sign for this Fordham team that we always thought these 5 games that they've been starting to put things together. This is a sign that we're not far off.
And I mean, this is a Dayton team, Lou, that averages 13,000 fans a game at home. And now we've talked a lot about how colleges probably inflate those numbers a little bit, but even if those numbers are a little inflated, 13,000 fans a game is by far the best in the Atlantic 10.
They were 20th in the nation last year in
it's
fan
similar.
attendance.
It's similar to a Power 5 school, that more so than it is to Fordham.
Absolutely. It's Dayton. You can make the jokes about them not winning an A-10 title. I'm sorry, they're an elite program in the A-10. They've been in the NCAA tournament more than any other team in the A-10 in the 21st century. They have 9 appearances since 2000 in the NCAA tournament. Fordham would kill to have 1. So you're talking about a different level with a Dayton program. It's a Dayton program that's had 2 first-round picks the last 5 seasons. Obi Toppin went 8th overall to the New York Knicks. I know he didn't pan out the way the New York fans expected, but that was a national player of the year. He won the Naismith Award. This is a program that produces excellence, and Anthony Grant is a good coach. So this is a really, really strong team that's still playing and doing things at a high level, even though they're not going to be a 25-win team this season. It's still a big test, a big measuring game for the Fordham Rams. Rams.
Fordham has been able to handle that test so far, 48-48, around a minute to go before we start this second half for Fordham. 17 points for Jackie Johnson on 6 of 8 shooting to lead the way. 13 points for Josh Rivera on 5 of 8 from the field. Fordham shooting over 61% from the field as a team. That's a number obviously probably going to come down. But before we start this second half, we'll send it over once again to the third member of our crew, Dominic Sansone. Dominic, what do you got for us?
Yeah, down here on the court, we have an absolute thriller at Rose Hill Gymnasium. 96 combined first half points, 26 total fouls. Johnson with 17, Rivera 13. All the stars are showing out here big time in the Bronx tonight. Heading into the half, Coach Ergo had a lengthy discussion with one of the officials at midcourt, pleading his case for the Rams. On his way into the locker room, he harped on defense and that they are right in this game with a team who beat two Big East powerhouses back at the beginning of the year in UConn and Marquette. We will see what the second half has in store. Back to you, Nick.
Thanks, Dominic. It's been a real barn burner here at the Rose Hill Gym. Dayton 50% from the field, 48-48. Both teams, the offense is shining. And we'll see the way the officials handle their whistles to start this second half, because they were all over it in the first. We'll see how this second half shapes up. Dayton will start with the basketball through Nate Santos on this near side. Dayton now moving from right to left, Fordham from left to right. Dayton in the red still, Fordham in white. Malachi Smith has it up high for the Flyers as we're underway in the second half. Smith, right away for Latong, out to the far wing for Bennett. Up high for Enoch Cheeks. Zach Riley watching him. Cheeks, out to the far wing for Nate Santos. The handoff for Bennett, still on the perimeter. Bennett against Timbila. Bennett driving on Abdu, hangs off the glass and gets it to go from mid-range. Beautiful move.
I said in the first half, I think sometimes Javon Bennett is unheralded for just how good he is on both sides of the floor. He's made some tough shots today. Santos and Cheeks get most of the attention offensively. Javon Bennett has been excellent as this team's point guard. They've got a lot of experienced guards. It's one of the things that makes them challenging.
50-48 Dayton, about a minute gone by first half. Zach Riley out to the far wing for Jackie Johnson, 10 to shoot for the Rams. Johnson has it straight away. Jackie drives on Bennett with the left hand, no good. Rebound loose, it comes to Bennett off of Latong. And Dayton can push back the other way quickly. Santos on this near wing. Handoff for Malachi Smith. Straight away Latong. Near wing again for Smith. Smith looking baseline, cuts back towards the middle, into the lane. Malachi Smith all the way around everyone. An easy lane with the right hand. Flyers by 4.
Not as much of a storyline, but Fordham's second half starts. Dayton coming out strong. Fordham needs to respond.
Zach Riley underneath gives it to Abdu with the left hand, able to scooch around Latong. It's a 2-point game. Fordham makes it 52-50 in favor of Dayton. 18-20 to go second half.
Just 8 minutes in the first half for Abdu Tibila. Matt Zona ended up being the star at center for them in the first half. We'll see if Abdu has a larger role.
Cheeks up high for Bennett. Against Johnson, out to the far wing, Malachi Smith. Abdu on him. Smith will try the three and bury it. Timbila didn't contest it, and Malachi Smith knocks it down.
Abdu Tibila makes the decision to give Malachi Smith that open wing three. Malachi Smith, not much of a shooter. He can hit, especially if he's open. I mean, he still hits a 37% clip.
For me, that's too much to back off. As Abdu has it up high for the Rams. Handoff for Johnson. Lobs it up for Timbila. He was nowhere close to that pass. Out of bounds on the baseline. It's 55-50 Dayton, 2.5 minutes gone by second half. And it's been a little bit of a dysfunctional start for the Rams.
That's not the start they wanted to this second half. Obviously, that's been something that plagued them, especially on the losing streak. And on that play, I think I want Abdu to fight a little bit more for positioning with Malachi Smith. He's so much bigger than Malachi Smith. Use your body. If you get called for a foul, I can live with that.
Smith has it on the far wing. Screen up high from Jack. Smith trying to find Jack. Deflected away by Timbila. Zach Riley the other way for the Rams. He's fouled in transition by Malachi Smith. Fordham will inbound side out. 17-17 to go second half. 55-50 Dayton. The first positive defensive sequence for the Rams on that last possession.
Let's say this,
second half.
It's just the third turnover for Dayton all game long. They had 2 in the first half.
Compared to 9 for the Rams. Handoff for Jackie Johnson up high, straight away Riley. Needs an option here. Riley for Timbila near wing. Johnson has it now coming around the screen. Johnson drives in the lane with the left hand, gets the roll off the glass. Another strong move from Jackie, giving him 19 on the night. Rams back within 3. 3.5 for, check that, 3 minutes and 10 seconds gone by in this second half. Santos up high for Malachi Smith. Zach Riley on him. Out to the far wing. Santos steps back, feeds down low, shot no good. Timbila able to gather the rebound. Went straight up and denied Santos. Johnson for Medor in the corner off the bounce pass. He knocks it down. What a pass from Jackie. What a shot all in one motion from Jaffe Medor. We're tied at 55.
And there's the life. Still has time to rip the three.
Bennett up high. Has it again for Dayton, straight away. Jack cuts down low. Santos on the near wing, drives into the lane, lost the handle. Santos against Riley, leans in, wild shot, wouldn't go. Rebound back to Santos, to the near corner for Cheeks. Fakes the three, drives baseline, kicks up high, the drive and the finish at the rim. 57-55 Dayton, Malachi Smith, lightning fast.
And the two players we came in highlighting offensively for Dayton, Enoch Cheeks and Nate Santos, 3 points and 2 points respectively, but they've been active facilitators and they've helped this offense operate at a high level.
Dean top of the key, handoff for Johnson, again driving left on Santos, trying to find Dean off his hands, stolen away by Cheeks. Up ahead for Bennett, quickly in transition. Smith open in the corner, cans the triple. Back to a 5-point Flyers lead, 15-18 to go second half.
About Malachi Smith heating up 15 points, a team-high 15 points. He was battling a viral infection a couple games ago. He looks like he's back to form.
Medor for Timbila up high. The Rams trailing by 5. 15 minutes to go second half. Hand up on the far side for Riley. Johnson has it now straight away. Against Cheeks. Johnson drives, takes a bump in the lane, off the heel, no good. Rebound Santos. Ahead for Malachi Smith. With Riley on him. Smith up high for Santos. Out to the far wing, Bennett. He'll launch the three. That's an air ball. Riley the rebound. Dayton have been lights out from 3 in this game. 8 of 13 so far. Medor on the far wing, looking to drive baseline. Runs into 2 defenders. Medor needs an option. Medor, it's going to be a blocking foul on the Rams. And that will take us into immediate timeout. Fordham can get their substitutions in. That starting rotation was out there for a while, just because no whistle.
And Dayton came just shot out of the cannon, and Fordham has that one burst back. And it's highlighted by the Jaffe Medor 3 from the corner. But they just don't have enough, at least in the opening 5, now 6 minutes, to battle with Dayton the way they've come out.
So it's 60-55 Dayton. With 14-19 to go in the second half. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Michael Kay, WFUV class of 1982. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One on One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym. Nick Guzman here alongside Lou Orlando. Dayton 60, Fordham 55 with 14-19 to go in the second half. And Lou, it's been Malachi Smith shot out of a cannon in this second half. 15 points for him on 6 of 9 shooting. But he's a guy who really has been struggling recently. I mean, just 3 points against VCU in 17 minutes, 2 against SLU in 1 of 10. He was battling a viral infection, but clearly Malachi Smith is healthy again.
I think that illness took a toll on him, and perhaps it spread to the locker room. We were told before the game that Posh Alexander seems to be a little under the weather. I'm just struck by what the role players have done on this Dayton team. And even the word role player sometimes has a negative connotation. I think really highly about guys like Malachi Smith and Javon Bennett. 15 points for Smith, 11 for Bennett, 11 for Letang, 10 for Zed Key. It's been everyone outside of the 2 stars coming in. You think back to the UConn game. It was Enoch Cheek scoring 20 points. You think back to the Marquette win. It was a double-double from Nate Santos. That, in theory, has been the game plan for Dayton. That's been the vision. It's let those guys go off and lead to victory. One of the reasons that Dayton, and it makes sense with their program, is they have such a strong recruiting class. If you put a Malachi Smith or a Javon Bennett or even a Mel Letang on Fordham, they'd be one of the best players. And they might be your star. And you're seeing why Anthony Grant's able to go so deep in the rotation and send 4 men in at a time, as he has different little lineups that it hasn't always worked in A-10 play. Clearly they've struggled at times, but on a game like today, he's found the hot hand, and it's been the other 3 stars that we didn't highlight coming into it.
I mean, Nate Santos, this team's leading scorer. Fordham have held him to 3 points. Problem is there are just so many weapons for this Dayton team. Enoch Cheeks at the free throw line misses the first free throw.
Listen, it's a decent crowd here in the Rose Hill Gym. It's nothing like what it was against Massachusetts. I would not say that it's particularly difficult to shoot into this from the line.
Cheek's second free throw is good. It's a 6-point Dayton lead, 61-55, 14-19 to go second half. For Fordham, Rivera trips Zona into the game for Johnson, Timbila, and Riley. Medor to inbound in the backcourt. Gets into Josh Rivera. Rivera, for Zona, pass was wide. Connor steals it. Bennett on the near wing. Dayton will set up their offense. Bad backcourt turnover for Fordham, who have struggled to start this second half. Posh Alexander on the far wing. Alexander down low for Key. 10 points in that first half. Key pulls from mid-range, in and out. Rivera and Dean collide, but Rivera able to secure the board.
You know what? Fordham needs a bucket here. They are losing the turnover battle bad. They're going to win games like that. Dayton does not turn the ball over a ton.
Medor, near side wing, straight away for Zona. Handoff up high for Josh Rivera. Rivera to the corner for Medor. Connor watching him. 9 seconds to shoot. Medor drives baseline, gets to the rim. Beautiful move. He lays it in with the left hand and the foul.
Jaffe Medor becomes maybe more of a footnote on the first half with what Jackie Johnson and Josh Rivera did. He was an integral part of the success that happened offensively in the first half. When Fordham looks smooth offensively, more often than not, you can chalk that up to Jaffe Medor doing his job well. That's an unreal finish. His ability to switch hands in mid-air, lay it in with the left through contact.
11 points now for Jaffe.
We're at 13, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
From the free throw line. He gets it to go. 61-58 Dayton. 13:30 to go second half. They get 12 for Jaffe Medor. 3 range in double figures. Medor, Johnson, and Rivera. On the far wing, it's Javon Bennett. Posh Alexander has it now near side, back to the 3-2 zone for Fordham. Out to the far wing, Bennett to the corner. Connor, he'll launch the 3, in and out. Rebound loose. Key the rebound. Couldn't get it to go, but he's fouled. And Zed Key will go to the free throw line.
If Dayton wins the offensive glass battle in this second half, that will do a lot to keep turning the tide against Fordham. One of the things I was really proud of Fordham for doing in that first half was finding those offensive rebounds. If Dayton can get some here, look what they get on that possession. It's an extra chance. Zed Key puts it back up through contact, gets himself to the line. Easy points.
He had 8 free throw attempts in the first half. These are his first of the second. He knocks it down to make it 62-58 Dayton. 11 points now for Key on 7 of 9 from the line. Big proponent of those early whistles against the Rams. The transfer from Ohio State, Zed Key. Guy was a captain at Ohio State, played 121 games across 4 years.
It's just the third time in A-10 play he's reached double-figure scoring. He was averaging over 12 in non-con play, so this is not a Posh Alexander case where he's been struggling all year long. He was one of their best scorers in non-con, just slowed down when the calendar flipped over. He's been pretty good today.
13 minutes to go second half. It's 63-58 Dayton. Jameer Tripp up high for the Rams. Beat the block for Rivera into the lane. Shot wouldn't go. Blocked away, but a foul. And 2 shots coming for Josh Rivera.
works, why not do it again? Josh Rivera had so much success just getting to the paint, going in strong, and taking whatever contact was going to come his way. More often than not, that's resulted in him getting to the line.
Where he was 3 of 7 from in the first half. You feel like this could be crucial down the stretch, just considering how much Josh has been involved in this offense in this game. First free throw, absolutely perfect.
At a point with Josh where he's probably not going to be an 85% shooter from the line, but if he can hit game-to-game rate at a 60%, 65% clip, with how much he gets to the line, that's going to be enough to give you an edge in games.
Second free throw from Rivera is good as well. A 2-for-2 trip for Josh Rivera. 63-60 Dayton. 12:53 to go, second half. Posh Alexander in the backcourt. Looks ahead to the front court for Jacob Connor. Feeds inside for Simon. Alexander straight away. So the reserves on for Dayton now. Alexander for Simon up top. Fordham still in that 3-2 zone look. Straight away for Javon Bennett. 10 on the shot clock. Straight away Simon. He'll launch the three. Too strong. Rebound Johnson. Lost it momentarily. Matt Zona able to come down with it. And Johnson can give it to Medor across the timeline on this near side. 12:20 to go, second half. Rams trail by 3. Medor against Connor. Gets inside. Out up high for Zona. His three off front rim and out. Rebound to Posh Alexander. Alexander out to the far wing. That's Bennett. Feeding the post for Key on the far side. Zona pressed up against him. Key backing down. A lot of contact. Key, lefty floater, hooks it up and in.
He's been fantastic in this game, and he's quieted a lot of the talk about his struggles in A-10 play.
Pass in the backcourt deflected onto the baseline by Javon Bennett. More disruption from Dayton in the backcourt. It's 65-60 Flyers with 11:49 to go in the second half. That'll take us to our under 12 media timeout. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one scoreboard with Samantha Ortiz.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
We're returning to Philadelphia for some A-10 women's college basketball. Fordham took the victory with a score of 61-58. Back at the Mecca, Atlanta Hawks face the New York Knicks. The Knicks lead with a score of 55-39 in this NBA game. As the NHL's four-nation face-off continues, you can watch Canada face Finland on Monday at 1 p.m. If you're in the mood for more A-10 men's college ball, St. Bonaventure visits Rhode Island. The game is tied with a score of 53. This is Samantha Ortiz with the one-on-one scoreboard.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym. Nick Guzman here alongside Lou Orlando. Dayton 65, Fordham 60 with 11:49 to go in the second half. We'll send it over again to the third member of our crew. It's Dominic Sansone. Dominic, what do you got for us?
Yeah, during that first media timeout, head coach Keith Ertl went up to star guard Jackie Johnson III and immediately calmed her down after going 0 for his first 3 in the half. In the huddle, the coaches emphasized the need to eliminate turnovers, 12 total to Dayton's 3. In the first 2 minutes of this half alone, they had 4 and have since had 0, so good things there for the Rams. In regards to three-point shooting, Dayton has been excellent. Fordham will need to continue to do whatever they can to get the Dayton guards off balance and give them contested looks. Right now, the Flyers are just a bit over 50% from beyond the arc and over 45% from the field. I think defense will be the key to this one down the stretch as I send it back up to you guys. Nick?
Thanks.
Feels like a good bet.
Thanks, Dominic. 65-60 Dayton, 11:49 to go, second half. The turnover differential, Lou, 12 turnovers for the Rams, 3 for Dayton. You don't see a lot of teams win when the turnover differential is quite like that. It was 8-2 to end the first half. Fordham had a tougher time handling onto the basketball here early.
You said it to me off air. If that differential stays at the rate it's at, it's going to be almost impossible to win this basketball game. It's alarming and I guess relieving that 4 turnovers in the 2-minute span is really bad. The fact that they've had none since is better. The problem is that it doesn't seem like Dayton's that prone to turnovers. You do worry about that with Fordham. They've really only, their goal has been to stay under 10. They've only done that twice this season.
Jaffe Medor across the timeline for the Rams with 11:40 to go in the second half. They trail by 5. Dribble handoff up high for Johnson. Bounce pass to Tripp now straight away on the perimeter. Tripp for Rivera, top of the key. Able to protect the ball. Gets inside with the left hand. Wouldn't go. Tindale to the board. Kicks back out for Johnson. 5 on the shot clock. Rams got to put it up. With 3 seconds, Johnson lost the handle. He'll hoist off front rim from almost half court. Offensive board. Tripp got fouled as he went up for it by Connor. Rivera tipped it up to Tripp, who came down with it. Connor was there as well, and Connor gets called for the foul.
Dayton head coach Anthony Grant hates the call. I think it's a little on the softer side. But how about that sequence? I mean, Abdu has to put that one back up with it not hitting the rim. The shot clock doesn't reset. Jackie hits the rim from half court, and Fordham does a great job of ball hawk finding the ball off the tip.
Medor straight away for the Rams. Handoff for Johnson. Tripp straight away. Tindale. Another handoff on the perimeter for Johnson. He'll throw lob up high for Tindale, and that's going to be a foul called.
It's offensive interference. Abdu hit it on the way down before it hit the rim.
Good call with
65. It's going to be interference on Dayton, I believe. Johnson, they're going to call it good. It's 65-62 Dayton. They're say that was a Dayton player who interfered with the basket. I'm surprised by that. And we're not get going without a review.
Oh my God, what is that?
Santos down low for Latone. Alexander gets inside, pass Tripp, acrobatic move from Pop.
Was that what happened?
Yeah, that was. Fordham advance the ball quickly. Josh Rivera on this near wing. Up high for Johnson.
Dude, what is going on?
10:34 to go, second half.
Apply it back to the. Oh yeah.
handoff on the far side for Medor. Straight away against Latong. 10 on the shot clock. Medor for Rivera. Thought about the three. He'll take it anyway. Josh Rivera didn't hit the rim. It's off the backboard, out of bounds on the baseline. Dayton basketball.
You're starting to see Dayton be very tough on the wing handoffs that Fordham likes to do with Tindale and either Medor or tough contested shot there on that possession.
Alexander for Cheeks on the far side. Fordham in the 3-2 zone. Alexander at the logo, hands off for Santos. Connor now. And the referee, I think, has spotted some, maybe a wet spot on the floor.
Oh, there's water dripping down from the
There's
light.
water dripping from the light at the Rose Hill Gym. That's going to be a problem, folks. You can see it coming from the light fixture just to the left of the Rose Hill patch near midcourt. It is dripping from the water fixture, it looks like.
And that's going to be, it doesn't look like that's something that's a leak.
It's going to keep dripping. How do we?
I don't know what you do about that. That's right. It's not like a bucket spilled or someone throws up in the court and you clean it up. It's dripping down a lot here. This is a leak.
I mean, that's going to get wet as soon as the ball gets back into play. So I guess you can mop it down every time out, but it's not going to be enough.
I don't have a stopwatch on me. I mean, it's coming down once every 5 seconds, sometimes even sooner.
And it is dripping onto the court, which is problematic for...
I mean, you might, I don't even know how do you get up there. Like, this light fixture, I mean, we're on radio, so it's stuff like, what is it, 30 feet, 40 feet up in the air?
It's very high.
I might be over. I mean, the rim's 10 feet. It's at least 25.
It's at least 25, 30 feet high. Some members of Fordham Athletics looking at the league, trying to figure out what the move is here. But we're paused with 10:01 to go.
100 years in the Rose Hill Gym, Nick.
It's showing in the roof. It's showing in the roof. 67-62 in favor of Dayton. And Lou, I guess while they figure out what to do here.
Before I got to cut you off. This is a great read by our on-site producer, Jack Warner. They're playing waterfalls in the Rose Hill Gym. That's great. Great spot by Jack. Great job by the people
Is that a TLC reference? It's a TLC reference. 10:01 to go second half. It looks like the league has stopped, at least in terms of frequency. Right, Lou? When's the last drip you saw?
It's been a minute. It's been a little bit.
It's been at least 20 seconds since I clocked the last drip.
Just make sure, were you doing another guy's reference?
That was, you know.
Just making sure. Me and Brian, we love that movie.
We love our Adam McKay
Come on.
comedies.
They're great. We watched them. Yeah, I haven't seen a drip in a minute here.
But it is
crazy scenes here at the Rose Hill Gym.
And it gives everyone a chance to kind of breathe, because I'm not going to lie, Lou, you and I, we were locked in. Fordham was locked in. Dayton was locked in. We were watching a very good Atlantic 10 basketball game.
I got to look at the Rose Hill Gym at the light.
And now I keep looking at the light. Eyesight's getting messed up.
Don't like it.
But as we decide what to do with the leak, both teams pause and talk things over. But Lou, this has a real impact on the momentum of this second half, because it's been mainly with Dayton, right? So you feel like maybe Fordham can take this opportunity to talk things over, figure out the way they want to attack the Flyers in the final 10 minutes of this second half.
I think the general rule of thumb is anytime there's a stoppage, it's usually going to impede the team with momentum more often than not. And the team that's on the other side of the slide, it gives them a chance to recoup, reset, and have an answer. Coach Urgo just got a free, what do you call it, a 3-minute, 4-minute timeout to discuss what's going wrong. And yes, Anthony Grant as well, but when you're doing something right, the discussion usually isn't what are we changing here. Hey, just keep doing what you're doing. Fordham just had a chance for 4 minutes to talk about, hey, this is what Dayton's doing. Here's maybe what we want to do in the next few possessions.
We're back underway here at the Rose Hill Gym. Posh Alexander up high, out to the wing for Santos, to Connor. Alexander near wing, fought out of 3. Alexander will hoist. At the end of the shot clock, he buries it. That's just elite shot making. That's Big East type shot making from Posh Alexander.
It's unreal. Hand literally in his face. Did not matter. That's the second really tough three he's hit today.
Wow. 70-62 Dayton, a guy who doesn't shoot the three that well, under 30% on the year. Medor up high for the Rams, who now trail by 8 for Josh Rivera near side. Straight away, Jaffe Medor. Calling for the screen from Tim Vila. Medor driving left, gets inside. Straight away, Rivera. He'll drive to the lane, stripped away by Connor, but a foul called. And Josh Rivera will go to the line. Josh drawing a ton of contact on those drives.
Yes, but we have to call spade a spade here. We're critical of the refs in the first half of the Fordham. I think that was all ball. And the Dayton fans behind the Dayton bench were pretty irate about that one. I just looked over to Jackie Wins. I agree. I think that one was a little soft. But we talked about it. It's the game plan for Fordham. You can get the ball to Josh. You can get him in the paint. You're going to get to the line.
2 shots coming here for Josh Rivera. First free throw is good. Making him 6 of 10 from the line on the night. 70-63 Dayton.
There's no way to defend Josh Rivera soft. You have to bring the physicality when you need him in the paint. That's why he draws so many fouls. That's why for the longest time his free throw issues were such a big topic of discussion here at Fordham.
Just because of how frequently he would get to the free throw line. Josh Rivera, second free throw is good. Another 2-for-2 trip from Josh, back to a 6-point Dayton lead. Malachi Smith in the backcourt for the Flyers, ahead for Cheeks across the timeline. And Smith at the logo. 9:05 to go, second half. Fordham back here in a man-to-man look. Smith for Latong up high, top of the key. Handoff for Bennett. Bennett out wide. Santos against Johnson. 6 on the shot clock. Nate Santos against Jackie. Santos to the rim. Couldn't get it to go. Tim Vila came down with the board. They're going to call, I believe, a goaltend on Abdu.
And Coach Steve Thurgo is emphatic that it's not goaltending, that it's a block. I don't know. It doesn't look like they're super motivated to go take a look at this one.
And they're going to, that's exactly what they're going to do.
I think under 10 minutes here, it's still not.
Yeah, no, I thought the referee was signaling for you, but he wasn't. It's an 8-point Dayton lead. Fordham with the ball in the backcourt. Johnson accelerates across the timeline with 8:35 to go in the second half. Johnson, to Nila, splits it. Johnson to the wing. Rivera gets inside. Stripped from, he lost the ball. Out of bounds on the baseline. Fordham will keep it with 11 seconds on the shot clock, but nothing coming easy offensively in this second half of the Rams.
The evolution of this offense. First half of the season, Jack has taken that himself. It's probably contested. He kicks to an open 3. It's just a good closeout by Dayton.
Rivera to Johnson, poked out of his hands on the bench, and Fordham will keep it right in front of their own bench. 10 seconds on the shot clock, but more disruption from the Dayton defense. Ramad Dean will inbound. Dean needs an option here, gets into the door. 8 on the shot clock. Medor's got to go fast. Medor, crossover, behind the back on Cheeks, walks it off his knee, 3 seconds. Medor blocked away by Enoch Cheeks. A mean rejection from Enoch. And it's a shot clock violation on the Rams.
This Fordham offense they don't look nearly as smooth or effective as they looked in the first half. That's obvious. Dayton's really tied up on the perimeter and made it difficult for them to find those easy lanes they had in the first.
72-64 Dayton, 8.5 to go, second half. Santos for Laton. On this near wing, it's Smith. Straightaway Cheeks, crossover on Tandila. Cheeks to step back, triple off the rim and out. Rebound Riley. Finally a miss from the Flyers as Johnson goes back the other way. Driving left, Johnson floats it up, can't get the roll. Tandila put back, a friendly roll off the front of the rim. Back to a 6-point game, 72-66 Dayton, 7:30 to go, second half. Malachi Smith in the front court for the Flyers. Santos straight away, back for Smith. 15 on the shot clock. Rivera watching him. Out to the far wing, Nate Santos. 10 on the shot clock. Smith again straight away. Got Rivera in the air. Smith drives, righty floater, blocked away by Abdu. It's loose down low, last touch off of Tandila as it went out of bounds on the baseline. It'll stay here with Dayton. Just 3 on the shot clock. That's headed into immediate timeout.
Not a goaltending that time.
Not a goaltend that time. 72-66 in favor of Dayton. 7:11 to go in the second half. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hey sports fans, it's Bobby C. I'm the sports director here at WFUV. From live broadcasts of Fordham Athletics to coverage of all the professional sports teams in the NYC, we've got everything a sports fan could ask for. Like talking sports? Check out One on One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show, as well as our diverse collection of podcasts. If you're a Fordham student interested in joining our program, feel free to shoot me an email, bobbyc@wfuv.org. And as always, thank you to all of our listeners who support us every week. 90.7 FM is the home of WFUV Sports.
Welcome back to the Bronx. It's Nick Guzman here alongside Lou Orlando in the Rose Hill Gym. Dayton 72, Fordham 66 with 7:11 to go in the second half. Dominic Sansone, the third member of our crew. Once again, Dominic, what do you got for us?
Yeah, pacing down the bench during that last bit of play. Overheard Coach Ergo say, we gotta get some stops here. Gotta play better man-to-man defense. Too slow and too much space. Dayton has put together an impressive second half defensively against the Rams, and they're continuing to do it on the offensive end. The Rams only scored 18 points in this second half. Turnovers will continue to be a huge problem for the Rams in this one. We'll see what they can do to sort that out. In the final 7 minutes to play, back to you, Nick.
Thanks, Dominic. And 72-66 in favor of Dayton is the score. You look at the first half and second half split for both teams, Lou. Dayton 50% from the field in the first half, 52.9% in the second half. They've actually improved from that clip. For Fordham, 61% in the first half and just 42.9% in the second half. And we've seen that not just in the numbers, but in the fluidity of the offense. It doesn't look nearly as smooth.
Dayton really has made a crucial adjustment defensively. They've tightened up on the wings. They've made it a lot harder for Jaffe and Jackie to improvise. And even though the ball movement's better, there's not a lot of openings for Jaffe in order to be the true point guard that he's supposed to be, that has led this offense to a lot of success. And I just don't know that there's enough of a response defensively for Fordham. Dom said it on his previous update. This game is probably going to come down to defense. Believe it or not, a game where there was over 95 points scored in the first half. This game is going to come down to defense. Who can actually get stops? And the one thing about being in a shootout with Dayton is I just don't love Fordham's chances. And they're not the defense-first team that they were a few years ago. They can play solid defense, they just haven't done it consistently. Listen, Fordham's got a good offense. I just don't know that you can battle with a team that leads the A10 3-point percentage and has elite talent everywhere.
And elite shot-making ability pretty much at every position. I mean, you think about Posh Alexander, a guy who's shooting 26% from beyond the arc this year. Yes, it's not been his best season statistically by any stretch. In fact, it's been his worst in his collegiate career coming here to Dayton, but a deep, deep three in this second half. Because these guys have the talent to knock down those shots. Like you said, it's going to be hard to outscore this Dayton team. You feel like it's going to have to come from tightening up on the defensive end.
And that's a scary statement because it's no secret the Fordham's really struggled defensively. They're still the worst scoring defense in the A-10. They still allow the highest field goal percentage in the A-10. So you can talk all you want about the strides they've made in certain aspects of their game. At no point this season have they been elite defensively.
3 seconds on the shot clock. Dayton will inbound underneath. We got to get a shot up quickly here. It'll be Malachi Smith to get the ball in. We'll see what play they have drawn up. When Anthony Grant came up with in that last time out. There's 7:11 on the game clock. 3 on the shot clock. Smith looking for an option. Gets it into Santos. Santos puts up the 3. He's fouled by Medor. As he shot, and Jaffe Medor looked like he did from our angle. Got his hand up in his facial area.
For the third time today, we've seen someone pull from the 3 and just have no space to land. And it's something they harped on in the NBA. It's still something they harp on in college. You have to allow the players to land. And I think there might have even been a little bit of contact on the way up, but there certainly was not any landing space for Nate Santos.
That's a brutal foul for Jaffe, considering 3 seconds on the shot clock. There's no threat of a pump fake. Free throws here for Santos. 3 of them. The first one's good. Just 6 points for Nate Santos, their leading scorer, at 14.5 points per game coming into this one. But it speaks a lot to the depth of Dayton that Santos can kind of take a back seat on offense, and still they're going to be up 9 here. Santos misses the second free throw.
I mean, let's put it on Fordham. The Nate Santos and the Enoch Cheeks of the Rams are probably Jackie Johnson and Jaffe Medor. Can you imagine a game where those two are struggling and the Rams are going to have a lot of success? You really can't. For Dayton, they have that depth of talent that they can get by. It's not even that they're struggling. They just don't need them to be offensive playmakers today because the other guys are doing it for them.
2 of 3 from the line for Santos. Medor gets into Rivera. And now Johnson into the backcourt. It's a 10-point Dayton lead as Johnson accelerates across the timeline on the far side. Medor straight away. Enoch Cheeks on him. Tandil at the screen. Medor working left and on the shot clock. Medor will pull the deep 3. Off front rim and out. Tandil the tip right to Key. And Dayton with another stop on defense. The well has dried up for Fordham on this end. Smith across the timeline for Dayton against Josh Rivera. 6:30 to go second half. 74-64 Flyers. Malachi Smith working on this near side. Straight away. Enoch Cheeks takes the 3. He'll drive left. Blows right by Johnson and lays up and in with the right hand. Timeout Keith Urgo. 76-64 Dayton. They're running away with it in the second half with 6:20 to go.
He needed to stop the bleeding, and now you're down 12 to Dayton with 6:20 to go. Yes, that's an eternity in college basketball, but at some point you have to make up 12 points against this Dayton team. And it doesn't have to be a 12-0 run. But making up 12 points against this team is going to be tricky. That means you're going to have to get stops defensively, and you're going to have to start making buckets possession after possession after possession. That's the hole you put yourself in by really never ever being that sharp offensively in this second half. As good as they were in the first half, and the efficiency numbers, they were fine a minute ago. Now they're down 33% from 20%.
1 of 5 from 3.
Those aren't great. We're going to hit at a 60% clip in the second half, so you have to find a way to still stay in that game by playing a little bit better defensively, but maintain an offensive defense. They haven't done that.
In the first half, Lou, on defense, it was the foul problems that were the big issue for these Rams. They had 13 personal fouls in that first half, just 3 in the second half. One was on that jumper from Jaffe Medor, fouling on the 3. So that's only 2 really, I guess you would call it physical fouls then. Where in the first half, Fordham, I think, were making Dayton a little more uncomfortable. Yes, they scored 48 points still, but the fouls have dried up in the second half, which you would think you would want from a Fordham perspective, but it's really proven to make no difference.
it's just
Shot-making ability from Dayton.
they've done a terrific job. I think there are sequences for Dayton where they've hit really tough shots. The Posh Alexander three. There's also moments where Fordham's made some really tough mistakes. Offensive turnovers, and the decision to foul with 3 seconds on the shot clock when Nate Santos pulls that three from the deep wing. Mistakes build up, and Dayton's not a flawless team. There are teams in this conference that really make you pay for mistakes. I think of VCU, I think of George Mason, where if you give them any little sliver, they take it. We saw that the other day, last Friday. Dayton played VCU, they lose by 5, and it's because VCU goes on a 12-0 run when they just took a little sliver, and boom, there they go. And Dayton was in that game for 35 minutes. In the final 5, VCU just takes over. Dayton is a flawed team, and they do make mistakes, but right now, Fordham more flawed. And that's not really a question.
I mean, the one stat that stands out to you, look at the box score, 13 turnovers for Fordham and just 3 for Dayton. Zach Riley inbounds to Jackie Johnson into the backcourt. It's 76-64 Flyers, 6:15 to go, second half, as Johnson crosses the timeline for the Rams. Johnson, dribble handoff for Trefay Medora up high, straight away Zach Riley. Matt Zona back in the game as well. Johnson coming around the screen on the far side. Now drives to the lane. Johnson trying to feed Zona, stolen away by Key. Not on the same page, Zona and Johnson. 14 Fordham turnovers.
Unraveling quickly in front of Coach Keith Thurgo's eyes.
Javon Bennett has it for Dayton across the timeline in no hurry. Fordham back in that 3-2 zone look, Lou, with Josh Rivera in the middle. Man-to-man for that last sequence, but to no avail. Cheeks up high for Santos. Out to the far side. Bennett, the 3, too strong. Rebound Cheeks, goes back up with it and finishes the rim.
This is the way this half has gone.
More pressure in the backcourt from Bennett. Johnson able to gather.
Fordham just looks lifeless right now. Dayton taking every inch they can get.
It's the Flyers by 14 with 5:08 to go, second half. Johnson on the far side. Straightaway Zona. Thought about the 3, passed it up. Bounce pass from Medor near side wing, driving baseline. Medor with 7 on the shot clock. Jaffe feeds the blow block for Rivera for the shoot. Rivera double teamed, a wild shot off the heel. Zona's tap wouldn't go. And rebound Enoch Cheeks. Accelerates into the front court. Posh Alexander into the corner. That's a 3 from Santos. It's short. Zona the rebound. Back and forth action here. Fordham down by 14 with 4:30 to go, second half. Medor straight away. Crossover on Key. Lost the handle. Out of bounds on the baseline. Fordham will keep it underneath.
You notice Coach Ergo, every time Fordham gets the ball, he's urging his players, move. You gotta go with speed. Time not on their side very quickly. There's only 4.5 minutes left in this game, and Fordham needs to start a run. If they're going to go on a run, they need to start it soon.
Riley to Medor. His 3's good. Jaffe Medor gets the Rams back within 11. 4:20 to go, second half.
As a start now, there needs to be more energy, intensity, and focus on defense than there's been for the first 36 minutes. You got to play your best 4 minutes right here. That's how you win 8-10 games.
Posh Alexander on the near side wing for Dayton. Alexander attacks, top of the key, kicks Santos, up high again. Alexander, he'll launch to the triple off the heel. Rebound loose. Getting there first was Bennett. He threw it off of Zona, and Dayton will keep the basketball.
That's a really smart play by Bennett. He's going to be trapped in the corner. If he grabs that ball, either momentum taking him out of bounds, or he's going to be literally trapped by Zona. Zona's not chasing down that ball, and Bennett's smart to just throw it off his legs and trickles out of bounds. IQ play.
That takes us to the under 4 media timeout with 3:54 to go in the second half. It's Dayton 78. Fordham 67. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one scoreboard with Samantha Ortiz.
A one-on-one scoreboard.
In the mood for more basketball? This Sunday, February 16th, catch your favorite players in the NBA's All-Star Game at 8 p.m. Now, tension continues on the ice as USA faces Sweden on Monday at 8 p.m. for NHL's Four Nation Face-Off. The A10 conference is coming in hot. UMass faced UCain and took the victory with a winning score of 72-52 for some women's college ball. Now Davidson made their way to Massachusetts for another A10 men's college ball game. Davidson took the big victory with a score of 77-68. This is Samantha Ortiz with the one-on-one scoreboard.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym. Nick Guzman here, alongside Lou Orlando. The score, Dayton 78, Fordham 67 with 3:54 to go in the second half. Lou, before we talk anymore, congratulations to Abdu Tabila, 200 career blocks. You got to that milestone in this game. But Lou, for Fordham, when you think about where they are now, down by 11, 3:54 to go in the second half, it would take a miracle to come back from this point. But big picture-wise, I think it'd take a miracle down 11, under 4 against what the Dayton team's been doing out there. But I think big picture, Fordham 3-7, next to last in the A10. Could potentially be that slide 3-8. Only team below them is Richmond at 3-9. But then if you look above Fordham, really a mishmash in the middle of that Atlantic 10. Teams like LaSalle, St. Bonaventure, Davidson, Rhode Island, UCain, GW, all under 500. So those spots where you might be able to avoid playing on the first day of the Atlantic 10 tournament are seeable and perhaps reachable for Fordham.
Yeah, Fordham's goal, I think, the rest of the way is just to get back into the middle. You carve yourself a very deep 6-game hole by starting off A10 play 0-6. This A10 conference is very tight. Fordham's not in the tight part yet, but they can get there.
Alexander inbounds to Key against Rivera with the hook, no good. Rebound Cheeks, he's fouled on the putback attempt. And Enoch Cheeks will go to the line.
To finish that point, though, you need to win games. And it's not, there aren't that many easy games to begin with. This is obviously a big test for them. And it's a big game for Dayton, too, coming off the VCU loss. They're still in the top 4, technically. But for Fordham, you'd love to be at least a Day 2 team when it's all said and done.
First free throw from Cheeks, he rattles home. On the Dayton side of things, Lou, I mean, they come in, there's really George Mason who's running away with 11-1, right behind them, VCU 9-2. And then Dayton's kind of found themselves in that upper middle tier in 4th place as Cheeks makes his second free throw. But if they can start to string some wins together, potentially they could be in a position to finish either 3rd or maybe challenge a VCU or George Mason up top.
And again, I don't think that an at-large bid is on the table for Dayton, but you can still get a really high, be a top 4 seed, you have a chance to go out there and win the A10 title.
Medor driving baseline. Johnson comes around the screen, launches the 3, and connects. After Cheeks makes the 2 free throws the other end, Johnson responds with the 3. It's 80-70 Dayton. 3:27 to go, second half. Posh Alexander across the timeline in absolutely no hurry.
Fordham's going to need to get the majority of their buckets now from 3. The good thing is they shot pretty well.
Alexander near wing for Cheeks. Santos in the corner, drives baseline out to the far side. Bennett, his 3's perfect. Javon Bennett lights out from beyond the arc. That's a 13-point Dayton lead.
They're dicing up this 3 too. I think at a certain point you might have to go back to a man. I understand the intent.
As Dean throws the inbound into the door, they're going to call Cheeks for the foul as he deflected it.
Not sure about that call either. I think we talked about the softer calls going against Fordham in the first half. I think a lot of the softer calls in this half have actually gone against Dayton. Now that's Dayton's 16th foul, 1 away from putting Fordham in the bonus. That could help them as well. Whenever you can get points when the clock is stopped, especially when you're down late in games, that's always a big help.
Jaffe Medor across the timeline for the Rams. Under 3 minutes to go, second half. Medor, nice move to the basket. Finishes strong over Cheeks. 11-point Dayton lead, 2:43 to go, second half. 17 points now for Jaffe Medor. Cheeks on this near wing. Again, Dayton in no hurry. Up 11, 2:30 to go, second half. Dayton 50% from the field in the first half, 50% exactly in the second half. How's that for you? Smith to Cheeks in this near corner. Inside, Latong against Dean. He's able to work it to Bennett, who escapes to the perimeter. 3 on the shot clock. Malachi Smith from Yonkers knocks it down. shot-making ability from this Dayton team. Turnover in the backcourt, miscommunication from Johnson and Dean. It's all unraveled, 86-72 Dayton. And that noise is not the Fordham fans inside the Rose Hill gyms. It's the Dayton Flyer faithful.
They have really packed this crowd, or this hill, I should say. They got a few guys from the tri-state area on this team. We told that they would be here. They're going to get to celebrate a win then.
7 on the shot clock. Smith dices inside, finds Cheeks, takes the contact, the finish, and the foul. Malachi Smith fired up. What a finish from Enoch Cheeks. The Rose Hill gym is really, really loud, Lou.
Not the way they want
Just not the way you want it to be.
I mean, you're watching this Fordham team collapse in this game in live time. It's going to end up being an ugly margin of loss after a really hard-fought first half. And I will say this is not an excuse. This is a game where Fordham was going to win. It needed it to be a Rose thrill. It didn't get that, and that's going to be tough. Whenever you place a team that's above you, clearly, in talent, one of the ways you can get them off their game is to put them in an intimidating environment where they're out of their comfort zone. I'm not sure Dayton, from a fan level, was ever out of their comfort zone.
Cheeks completes the three-point play. Let's go Flyers chant. Bringing around the Rose Hill gym, Jackie Johnson, the high floater, off the heel and out, just nothing falling for the Rams in the second half. Bennett the other way in transition, lays it up and in. It's 91-72 Dayton with 1:17 to go in the second half. Jonah's three no good. The Rams are ice cold. It'll come back out for Jonah. Inside for Dean. He's able to flip it up and in. Timeout called by Keith Ergo. That makes it 91-74 Dayton with 1:08 to go in the second half. Lou, this game was 48-48 at halftime. Dayton has outscored the Rams 43-26 in the second half, and all of a sudden, we've got Let's Go Flyers fans. It's a Dayton takeover, and it's a blowout.
You loved the first half, and I really do think it was one of, if not the best first half they have played all season. 48 points, that's the most they've scored in a first half this season outside of Georgian Court, and that was a D2 opponent. So I think for all things considered, you could say that's the most points they've scored in the first half this year. It was a phenomenal offense display. You hit a 60% clip. In the back of your mind, you figure that wasn't, you weren't going to be able to hit that.
In front of my mind, they weren't going to shoot 60% the rest of the way.
To be fair, yes. Dayton does have that offensive potential that they can maintain. They can score 40 points every half. They can score 90 in a game. Fordham can, it's just they're not going to be able to do it consistently. And against an A-10 opponent, you really don't believe that. It shows how hard it is to hang with teams in the upper echelon of the A-10 when you're a bottom feeder, which, like you see, that's what Fordham is right now. They're a bottom feeder. They can get to the middle of the pack. It's going to take a lot of work, though.
Santos inbounds to Cheeks quickly across the timeline. Stolen by the door. We're going to get it to Riley. We're going to say Fordham players stepped on the sideline. Out of bounds call against the Rams. I think Dayton will keep it.
Right, you see it all the time. We'll see it when we get to March Madness. A low seed is going to give a high seed run for their money in the first half. And it's going to be a single-digit margin. They might even be up. And the higher seeds will blow the doors off them in the second half because it's just so hard to hang with really good teams for a full 40 minutes. I said it before, I'll say it again. You don't get ranked 22nd in the nation by accident. You don't beat UConn by accident. You don't beat Marquette by accident. UConn did not play their best game against Dayton. Neither did Marquette. It doesn't matter. You still beat a team that is a top 25 team, a reigning national champion at UConn. You beat them by double digits. That's how good this Dayton team can be. I know they lost to UMass, and that was a shocking upset. I know they lost 3 straight. I know they're only 6-5 in conference. I think this is a legit Dayton team. I wouldn't put my money on them winning the A-10 title because I like George Mason a lot. I like VCU a lot. I think SLU's pretty good too. This is a really good Dayton team, and it's a team that has a lot more talent than Fordham does. And it was going to take a lot for Fordham to beat them. They did a lot in the first half. They just didn't have the energy, the intensity, and the efficiency to replicate it in the second half.
And on the Fordham side of things, the Rams get ready to inbound into the backcourt, down 91-74 with a minute 4 to go in the second half. On the Fordham side of things, Lou, you think about how disappointing it is that the offense kind of went ice cold in the second half, but you're not winning very many games, giving up 91 points to anybody, especially a team like Dayton. In the far corner, Ahmad Dean's three, too strong off the heel.
They
Will Tong the rebound.
were rolling the clock. Zach Riley rolled the ball out to stop the clock, and they ran the clock anyway. Jaffe did not like that.
49.5 to go on the clock. The Rams foul underneath. And free throws coming here for Dayton. But 91 points for the Flyers. They shot 55% in the second half, 50% in the first half. You're not going to win very many games if your opponent is putting up those kinds of shooting numbers. Added in the 15 turnovers to 4. You've got a big 8 lead.
We know this is a work in progress. One of the things that Trey Woodall said that really stuck with me when he was the interim for those 4 games, we asked about progression, and he said, our only main focus is being the best team we can be by the end of the season. It doesn't have to happen today, it doesn't happen tomorrow. We have to be the best team we can be by the end of the year going into the A-10 tournament. That's going to be a work in progress going up until the last game at URI. And it remains to be seen the level that this team can achieve. This is a significant loss, I think, for Fordham. It was a team that was trending upwards. They had beat URI, who was overall a record 15-win team. They hung with a Bonaventure team that I still think can be top 4 in the A-10, and they had given them a run for their money. This is a legit top 4 A-10 team, and they fall flat in the second half. Tough gut punch.
Santos, the full court pass to Cheeks, who lays it home on the reverse. 19-point Dayton lead, 45 seconds to go, second half. 93-74. Johnson takes the triple from the free throw line. His lefty floater is pure. That makes it 93-76, and another timeout called by Keith Irving.
It should not go unnoticed what Jackie Johnson did in this game and what he's continued to do. And coming in, we talked about the efficiency. 50% from the field, 44% from 3 the last 2 games. So that was St. Bonaventure and that was URI. Today, 9 of 16 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3. That's going to boost those numbers. He's on a really good 3-game stretch, 20 points in all 3 games, 24 today. Jackie Johnson plays like this, and you continue to get strong performances from Jaffe and Josh, and you get more of a collective performance from the rest of them. To me, this is a great game for Jaffe, for Jackie, for Josh, and it will show in the stat sheet. What also shows in the stat sheet is they didn't have much help up and down the lineup in terms of another guy that could come in and really contribute. I think it's another game where Jameer Tripp is not as noticeable as he should be for as talented as he is. Neither Matt Zomer and Abdu Tibiel really shining on the offensive end. It's not Zach Riley's team, but they weren't really ever able to get him an open 3, which can do at times. You might look at 5 guys in double figures scoring, like, that's the difference. That's the difference with Fordham right now, and then some of these A-10 teams, these A-10 teams, they have depth. They have depth of scoring. Fordham has displayed that at times. The issue is consistency. All the things that Fordham does well, they can't manage to do in a consistent manner. And that's, unfortunately, that's what you need to do to have success. We're dumbing it down. But
Santos to inbound underneath. Fordham still in their full court pressure to Bennett. Riley there along with Dean. Bennett stolen away by Tripp. Tripp thought about the 3, gets it to Riley. Riley drives. We're going to get a shot up here. Medor comes around the screen. Fadeaway 3, no good. Santos to the rebound. The shot clock is off, and Ahmad Dean gets called for the foul. With 22.9 on the clock, 93-76 Dayton. Nate Santos will shoot free throws.
And Nate Santos letting Fordham hear it after Ahmad Dean fouls him. And, you know, there are guys that have game. There are guys that have a different type of game, and that's the trash-talking game that comes with the on-court game. Nate Santos has both. He's one of the best trash talkers in the A-10.
He's perfected that art. It wasn't his best game statistics-wise, as Santos misses the front end of the 1-on-1, Tripp the rebound, 20 seconds to go. Tripp up ahead. 15 on the clock. Tripp will pull the 3 in and out. Literally nothing has fallen for these Rams in the second half, when everything was in the first. And Javon Bennett will dribble things out for the Flyers. Over to Malachi Smith with 5 seconds for 3, 2, and 1. That will do it here from the Rose Hill Gym. Final score, Dayton 93, Fordham 76. The Rams fall in this one to 3-8. in Atlantic 10 conference play on the season. Dayton improves to 7-5, 93 points, the most Fordham's allowed in a regulation game, not counting the triple overtime mayhem against UMass since the season opener against St. John. They allowed 92.
It was just not a good game for them defensively. That's the simplest way to put it. It's a good Dayton offense, and they play their butts off, no doubt about it. But Fordham's inability to play strong defense, to guard against the key guys, and the role players coming back to bite them in key moments. How we doing, Coach?
Pleased to be joined now by Fordham men's basketball assistant coach Henry Lowe. Henry, Dayton shot 50% from the field in both the first and the second half. They put up 93 points. What were they doing so well offensively that made it difficult for you guys on that end of the floor?
They were just doing what they do, man. It's a talented team. We got to play a little harder, I think, but they capitalized on our mistakes, and it's a good learning experience for us, man. It's a talented basketball team.
Offensively, that was one of the most potent first halves we had seen from this team. 48 points, 60% from the field. What went so well in that first half, and what happened that it couldn't get replicated in the second?
We were sharing the ball, so you can't ever hang your hat on making and missing shots. I think we got to defend a little bit better, just play a little harder. But, proud of our guys' effort, and it's a talented basketball team. Credit to Dayton.
Coach, thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
That's Fordham men's basketball assistant head coach Henry Lowe, or assistant coach Henry Lowe. 93-76 final score here at the Rose Hill Gym. Dayton to defeat the Fordham Rams. Lou, final thoughts in this one. The well dried up in the second half, obviously, for Fordham. They could never quite defend this Dayton offense, and I think that tells you a lot about the levels that there are in this conference.
When Coach Henry Lowe says they're a talented team, he's absolutely right. Dayton's been the butt of some jokes this year because of the talks to get them into the Big East and their struggles in A-10 play, losing to UMass. You know what, it turns out UMass is pretty good. They're tied for fourth in the A-10 right now. They'll have to get back there because Dayton won that game, but they're right in the mix in the A-10, so they're no joke either. Dayton's clearly in the top echelon of the A-10, and Fordham's still trying to work their way up. If you play the schedule game, you go on the road to Richmond, they're the only team below you in the A-10. That's a must-win. You've already beat Duquesne, you go on the road, you have a chance against them. Another winnable game. Get Davidson at home. There are games in this schedule. Fordham can still win even. I still think they can battle in the A-10. There's probably an upper echelon that they can achieve, and maybe that's the George Mason and the VCUs and Dayton's. I still think Fordham can prove they can battle with 10 of the 15 A-10 teams and end up in the middle of the pack. But it's enough talk. And one of the things Coach Urgo said on the show a couple days ago, actions speak louder than words. The words are nice. They got to show on the court that they're better than now 3 of 8 at A-10 and 14th in the A-10. They've got to show it.
As Lou mentioned, the Rams will hit the road for 2 games against Richmond. We're dead last in the conference, and then Duquesne the following Saturday. And Lou, when you think about this game, 93-76 in favor of Dayton, for the Flyers now you go on the road, or you return home rather to face Duquesne on Saturday, followed by a trip to Loyola Chicago. I feel like Dayton could use a game like this after what was maybe rock bottom against VCU and how they lost that game down the stretch to come here and put on this kind of offensive performance. It's a big deal for this Flyers team.
Absolutely, because that VCU game, I wouldn't underrate how much of a gut punch it could be. We're not in that locker room, but you know that's a measuring stick game, and to be in that game up until the final 5 minutes and to lose on a 12-0 run that you allowed to VCU, who they're a top team in the A-10, they might not be too, you know? So that was a tough loss. You get blown out by Bonaventure, trying to prove yourself. I think Dayton can get hot here. And I really do think they're perennially a top 4 seed in the A-10. I don't think it's any different this season. So they've had their ups and downs. I don't think they've quite hit their stride just yet. If they do, that's a scary team for anyone to face.
That will do it here for our coverage from the Rose Hill Gym. Final score, Dayton 93, Fordham 76. Nick Guzman, Lou Orlando, Jack Warner, Dominic Sansone doing such a great job producing here for Jack, and Dominic killing on sidelines in his first effort. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one postgame with Derek Bellew.
The one-on-one post-game report.
Welcome back to the one-on-one studio for the post-game report. I'm your studio host, Derek Boyer, joined by Samantha Ortiz, doing your updates, and let's get into this game. Fordham is now 11-13 overall and 3-8 in the conference, while Dayton is now 17-8 overall and 7-5 in the conference. Your final score is 93 for Dayton and 76 for Fordham. And one thing I want to notion quick is Abdu Simbila hits 200 career blocks during this game. Big milestone for him. Extremely happy for him.
100%. Wow. That's a big milestone. Definitely something worth celebrating. Maybe not tonight because, the Rams, they did slip up. And we have a lot to unpack about that, so if you want to start.
Of course. I mean, the biggest thing, first half looked great, 48-48 going in. It looked like maybe Fordham could keep up with this Dayton offense, but then it ended up being Dayton outscored Fordham 45-28 in that second half. And it really seemed like Fordham's offense didn't click like they did in that first half. They went 3 for 10 from 3. Which isn't necessarily a bad line, but when you have a potent Dayton offense going 5 for 12 from 3 and just shooting the lights out, constantly scoring 93, it's hard to keep up when your offense was clicking and then it stops and you kind of struggle.
100%. And to shout out our wonderful crew on site, they did say the Flyers are above in percentage, but the Rams needed to shake them up, and I 100% agree with that. I don't know if it was I don't know if they weren't paying attention or what. I mean, there was a little mishap. Apparently there was some water dripping from the light and it got onto the court. Maybe that's what caused some of the sloppiness. We don't know. Maybe.
But, I don't know. It just seemed like Fordham's offense kind of just stopped clicking, and it just... I honestly didn't think that either team was going to be able to keep up with their efficiency, because the first half efficiency for both sides was just insane. 48 points for both teams is crazy. But when Dayton scores another 45, it kind of seems like Fordham's lack of defense was a big issue, especially when you have a Dayton offense that you really need to slow down in some form. Because if they start clicking and they start shooting like they did in this game, something bad's going to happen. 93 points is kind of the result.
100%. And keeping that stamina. I mean, when we look at, the stats, Dayton has 5 turnovers. Meanwhile, Fordham has 15. Yeah. So it's definitely something with the offense. And when you're efficient and you have your team to assist you, it helps. But I don't know. And Dayton's even stealing. They have more steals than Fordham. I think the number is 8 and 2. Mm-hmm. There's obviously an issue. Yeah.
I mean, the simple mistakes add up. In that first half, we talked about, their first 2 turnovers were just simple mistakes that they just kind of did it themselves. And those small mistakes add up, and that's why the game was tied at half. Maybe they could have been up by a little bit without those simple mistakes, and they kind of just added up. Maybe kind of affected Fordham a little bit, got them off their game. Jackie Johnson missed his first 3 shots starting the half, and I kind of want to talk about him a little bit. He did score 22 points, which obviously impressive, great for Fordham, but he had 6 turnovers. That's more than the entire Dayton offense had, and that's really... It's great to score a lot of points, obviously, it's the whole point of the game, but when you're also giving Dayton opportunities to score themselves, your points kind of mean a little bit less. Because if you're giving Dayton 6 more points to score, or 6 more opportunities to score, it kind of just, maybe your 22 doesn't mean as much as 20 points, but 1 turnover, if that makes sense.
No, it definitely does. And it reminds me of something that, we wanted to touch on. I guess it goes hand in hand with stamina, but the way that Dayton times out their players, so you said that their time is, spaced out efficiently and equally, whereas for Fordham, the Rams have 3 players playing for 20-ish minutes, and that's when they start to get, a little weak. So
yeah, I mean, talking about that, Medora had 37 minutes, Jackie Johnson 36 minutes, Dean 26 minutes, and all the starters had a lot of minutes. But then you go over to Dayton, the highest minute value is 32 from Bennett, but then you see 24, 20, 26, and then you get to the bench. They're even playing, even their bench is playing 16, 17, 13 minutes. It's giving the starters a break from just the game in general, and it's also giving fresh legs, so those small mistakes don't happen. Fordham kind of had those small mistakes happening, potentially just overlooking like just simple stuff, but also potentially from just stamina. You're tired, you're not focused on the small stuff as much. That might lead to the 15 turnovers that Fordham had, and that's kind of a big turning point in the game.
100%. And you weren't the only one to mention that. I mean, we just got sound from the assistant coach, and he said, like, the team as a whole needs to learn from their mistakes, which I think is something that Fordham's bench needs to, listen to and take into consideration, and really just practice good defense. So we'll see what happens in the next game. But
hopefully Fordham doesn't have 93 dropped on them dropped on them once again. The defense really needs to step up a little bit, but also Latin night today at the gym.
Yes.
I wanted to mention that. It seemed like the Fordham fans were into it in the first half, Latin night, but the second half didn't really give them a lot to cheer about. I mean, losing by 19, or not 19, it was 19. Losing by 17 isn't a great way to show your fans, but that's a big thing that like the coaches have hit on a lot. Fordham fans mean a lot to this team, and having that sound is amazing, but when the Dayton Flyers fans are kind of louder than the Fordham fans, it hurts your offense when you're playing at home. You expect the Fordham fans of the Rams to show up, but when the Dayton's louder than you, it kind of hurts you a little bit.
Exactly. You expect the opposite, and I was expecting, or at least we were, because it was Latin night, I don't know, the music may have given them an oomph, given them something to, like, be more excited about. At least that's what Latin music does for me. I don't know about them. Maybe next Latin night, I don't know, we'll see. But one thing that I also wanted to mention was, like, Rams, they were rebounding more, and obviously they have so many turnovers, but one thing that I noticed is, like, once they have the ball in their hand, they have confidence, so they're able to rebound. But, like, once it's their time to shine and maybe steal, they get shy, and then they let the ball slip out of their hands. So I don't know if they need to hear it from me, but, like, confidence is key, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if you gotta have like Jackie Johnson missing 3 shots to start the half.
Right.
Coach just kind of talked to him a little bit, keep that confidence up. I mean, he was playing impressively, just amazingly in that first half. Missing those first 3 shots can kind of get your confidence low. But when you're playing a team like Dayton, you need to be high confidence. You need to know that, like, you have the skills to shine. And Jackie Johnson, of course, ended up having 22 points. So that's just, or 24, sorry. It's just keeping that confidence high for just the entire Fordham team. I mean, Medor 17, Rivera 17, and obviously with his impressive showing in that first half, which I kind of want to talk about a little bit. We had those big moments in that first half. Rivera dunk. Rivera just honestly doing amazing. And that second half, there weren't a lot of big plays, key moments that might have brought the momentum down a little bit. Maybe a loss of momentum, maybe a loss of morale, maybe not giving the fans as much to cheer about, which could have led to Dayton being louder than Fordham.
I 100% agree. And I don't know, I just think it's interesting, like, even our wonderful, like, play-by-play and commentary, they said, like, this is the first time Fordham has allowed, this number of points in a regulation game. And it makes you think about, like, what really happened. And it's just interesting, like, the start with Rivera, when he dunks, amazing. Like,
Absolutely.
10 out of 10. But then they lose the momentum, like you said, and the stamina, and then things get sloppy. Again, it could have been the water or whatever flood was happening.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. We weren't there. But maybe we'll find out later.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just to highlight the first half even more, just impressive first half. Like, I loved what I saw from the offense in the first half. 48 points is impressive in one half, but like we've been saying over and over, if your defense isn't there, sure, you scored 48, but the other team scored 48 too. Right. So you just end up in a tie. Fordham's defense is a big thing that needs to be highlighted, and that's a big thing that we want to see next Saturday at Richmond. Tip-off's at 6 p.m. Maybe they're at Richmond, so obviously not in the Rose Hill Gym, but maybe we'll see.
Hey, let's have some confidence.
Yeah, I mean, no. Like, we'll see. Maybe Fordham can highlight. I mean, Richmond's 8-17 overall, 3-9 in the conference. They're below Fordham in the conference. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be an easy game, but they're not Dayton. Well, hopefully we can see Fordham kind of get back into their groove, get their momentum back, and I think it's time to send our thank yous to Nick Guzman for our wonderful play-by-play, our amazing color with Lou Orlando, the extraordinary Dominic Sansone has been your sidelines, and the magnificent Jack Warner has done your on-site producing. In the studio, our wonderful Will Talent is our producer. The great Samantha Ortiz has done your updates, along with the halftime and postgame show along with me. Your highlights and your engineer are Thomas Tisdale, who did phenomenally with your highlights, and I, Derek Boyer, have been your studio host. Our sports director at WFUV is the Bobby Chaffardini. Fordham Men's Basketball is a production of WFUV Sports, and your final score is Fordham 76, Dayton 93.